What is good? We're back. No fresh crack. We're going to rehab. Cleaning up their acts around here.
Oh, happy Thanksgiving, y'all.
Happy belated Thanksgiving. On to now you can play your Christmas music. All right.
Oh, yeah, we were hitting it in the car ride.
Thanksgiving gets no respect. It's ridiculous.
Out with the old, in with the Christmas.
Yeah.
Bring it on. Let's go.
All right. So today, on the sober edition of the FF Dynasty, we got a way too early 2024 startup mock with rookies. Boom.
Nice.
So we did a startup mock already, and I wanted to do one just to kind of see some movement, see where guys fell, and then I wanted to do another one right after that with the rookies. And here it is, just to kind of show you kind of where all the rookies lied, who maybe got pushed down, moved up a little bit. Just want to kind of mostly highlight the rookies here. We'll have a board with kind of how those would play out in a rookie draft as well. We got at least 24 rookies that we can show you, so we can give you 2 rounds of how that would play out in a rookie draft. So I thought those were kind of fun things to learn and see, and we'll be tracking this all throughout, and we'll be doing many mocks throughout the off season here, building our ADP again. So we'll be basically probably use this one to start it off. That way we can keep track of the rookies, kind of how they're changing. We're going to do rookie mocks, so make sure you like, subscribe, comment below, all that jazz. This one is just with the patrons. We will open it up to asking on Twitter when we're doing a lot more mocks. But right now, the Twitter's guys, or the Patreons, are in full control over here. So, with the first pick in the 2024, way too early rookie edition startup mock, we got Patty, Mahomes, Hurts, Allen, Burrow, Herbert, all going pretty strong right there. Then Chase, the first wide receiver off the board, which probably should be JJ, but to each their own. Then Lamar, then Stroud, then Tua. Big Co tried to send me Lamar for Stroud pretty much straight up. I turned it down. So, I think that's pretty close. Then Tua in there. I think maybe that's a hair too much love on Tua for me. But
smidge.
Little hate on T-Law. Kyler's just kind of coming back. A-Rich is hurt. Fields we're not sure of. But then we get our first rookie. Caleb Williams at 110 before Justin Jefferson.
Right, which what you're looking at, I'll kind of show you the rounds as we go through them, but then on the bottom right of your screen is kind of where those rookies went, and then if it was a rookie mock, that's the order it would go
Gives you the startup pick number and the rookie pick number. So we'll get that maybe a little fancier as things roll on, but Thanksgiving edition, time was of the essence here. Trying to get this out. Where this is also sick edition, as you can hear.
Nasally fantasy football.
Justin Jefferson and A-Rich rounds out that first round. So JMW doubles down with 2 quarterbacks right off the rip. I don't hate that at all.
So did you.
And then some CeeDee Lamb, some A.J. Brown. No complaints so far of anywhere of any sort. I think Caleb is appropriately rated already. He's going to be highly sought after. I don't think anybody would trade the 1-1 Tua for the 1-1 at this point. I think you're probably taking Tua there, but J Mike is.
You're taking Caleb with
right,
the 1-1.
Right. J Mike took Tua there over Caleb at Ward Jefferson. So strong feelings for Tua. I like that. He planting his flag, and I think Tua deserves the respect. If he's healthy, he's a very, very strong weekly player. And then T-Law kind of fallen out of favor a little bit here, but J Mike scooped him up. T-Law's been a little bit on the rebound here the last couple of games, fantasy wise. I think he's been playing fairly well all season. Just hasn't turned into fantasy points. He's a lot of drops.
Get rid of that one game. He had 2 games ago. They got smashed. He said it was the worst game he's ever played. But overall, been playing very well all season. Jags strong.
Been
team.
playing well, but just has been 15 points, 16 points most
fantasy
weeks.
Output.
Right. And some TD drops. He's been rushing some in now. A lot of drop passes. So I think if you watch T-Law, he plays pretty well. It just isn't doing a great thing for you fantasy wise. So I think it's so Stroud over T-Law in this one. So I can't really argue too heavily on that one. They just dueled it out this weekend. T-Law becoming the victor there. If Fairbairn's there or Fairbear's there, maybe they make that kick. Amendola hasn't been good.
He couldn't get it there.
With the longer kicks.
Which Stroud took 2 sacks on that drive. So how do you even expect to get in range? No wonder you had a 60-yard field goal for Hail Mary. But got to get rid of the ball there. Usually you don't see him making those mistakes. But even after those drops, it was like, even after those sacks, it was like every throw that he makes, it seems like it's going to be completed. It's incredible.
It's
very incredible.
It's very Joe Burrow like. Like you never feel like it just feels like everything is in control. The next one, he took a 10-yard loss. Doesn't matter. We're gonna get that all back on this next one.
Which, no disrespect to Nico or Tank, but Joe Burrow has Chase and Higgins.
Oh, sure.
And I love Tank and Nico as much as the next guy. And I'm not slighting them, but man.
Yeah. I mean, both different. I mean, T's pretty close to kind of what Nico is, I think, like as far as maybe a player.
Mm-hmm.
But and Tank is just a much smaller version of Chase, where good separator and actually pretty good contested wise as well. Strong player, but half the size. But those are coming into their own of being very, very solid weapons. So Marvin Harrison Jr. is off the board there at 2.5. So first 2 rookies in the first 2 rounds. Some people are I saw even some shade on Marvin Harrison Jr. a little bit here and there the last couple of weeks, and it's just
really
nonsense. Bijan bouncing back at 2.6. If Bijan stays on the trajectory he's at, I think he'll even move up some from where he's going, but still a Dynasty RB1 here in this draft. Then Fields, St. Brown, Garrett Wilson, and our second rookie, Drake May. It's gonna May. Jalen Waddle, then Breece Hall at 2.12. I love the Breece pick there. Waddle getting some good value on him. Then Mark Andrews on the turn. This is tight end premium Superflex. Should have mentioned that off the rip. Did not. It's poor job by your host.
If you don't know, it's pretty much always Superflex tight end premium. Right. And for those of you that are like, I wish you'd do a 1 QB one, just take out all the QBs and there you go. Don't put them in until like the 6th round. I mean, don't be reaching on QBs. You want to know. I think that's the question behind. I'd love to see the 1 QB because logically you just take the QBs out. There you have your order. But they want to know when to take a quarterback. And I'm just going to let you know, you don't. You don't take a quarterback in 1 QB leagues. Like you just don't.
We'll do some. We'll mix it up here and there. But
that's really the thing to figure out when you're talking about 1 QB. But then if you start talking to us about 1 QB, we're going to devalue those quarterbacks.
All the skills through those first 3 or 4 rounds all slide up some picks, and then it kind of evens back out in the middle basically, because then you got to run a quarterbacks at some point in the middle of the draft, and then it kind of evens back out a little bit. Then Travis Etienne, who's been hot and cold but mostly a really strong season here. Then Taylor, I think he's going to have a strong run to solidify his position here. And then Achane Hachu. I know. We always get comments. It's pronounced this. I'll never say his name. I'm never going to say his name right. Just so you know, I'm fucking with you.
Yeah. Devon Chan. It's hard. It's hard to say.
Came back. Now he's out again. I don't know how long or whatever. So if there's the people who weren't in, or might start throwing shade back in him. And I think even if you are in, there's got to be a little doubt kind of creeping in, because people, any string of injuries early on in your career, and then you're injury prone. So get rid of them.
Yeah.
Nobody has any patience or could see the light at all. So
either way, that's probably too hot, right? For H-Man?
I think so.
I'll take tight end premium Superflex.
I'll take Gibbs for sure and CMC. But if you're an ageist and you want the new guy, I mean, A-Chain.
Which they did go. McCaffrey and Gibbs went ahead. It's 3rd round reversal. Don't forget. That's another caveat. 3rd round reversal. It's the perfect way to do your Superflex startup. It really evens out whoever has that first pick. You kind of lose out when you get to that 3rd round. And if you have a pick at the end of the 1st round, then it kind of pays off to have that 3rd round reversal, but pay attention to that.
Yeah, and I myself was not paying attention to that in here. So good pull. So Dak Prescott comes in at 3.1, which I think is incredible value. And I think if we did this right now, he'd be back up in the turn of the 2s.
And don't add us. Deshaun Watson was not on IR at the time we did this mock, so it takes us a while to do these mocks. We do a slow clock and let people
Right.
have a couple
It
hours
takes
to make your pick. And
almost a week to do it, and
Yeah.
then depending on where we are in that week, we can't get
May
it
or
out
may not
maybe until
record.
the following. So
Right.
everything in time. This is not our full-time job, and we try our best to get it out there. But
hey, but if you're mad about where someone went, just hit us in the comments.
right. So Dak, CMC, Hawkinson, second tight or first tight end off the board. So that's exciting.
Properly rated.
I would say I can't argue with it.
Yeah.
So,
And I took Mark Andrews to just not have to make a decision.
Right.
I wanted to see where some of these rookies fell. I didn't take a single rookie. I just wanted to see where people would value them because I'm not sure I know where I want them. That's the point of this, right? No one has for the people like, what should I do with all these picks? Like, well, just relax, hold them, and we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We got a while. Your draft's not tomorrow.
we're really going to start figuring some things out, and some of these rookies will drop. But I ended up taking a decent amount of rookies here. It just seemed like that's where the value was on a lot of these picks. And as we go through, we'll have some of these guys who were in the 5th, 6th, 4th round, even probably even slide up, potentially even higher. I think Caleb probably is coming in hot and is going to stay hot. Marvin Harrison, Drake May, most likely going to stay around there. I could see, maybe May and Harrison sliding up just a hair. No rookies in the 3rd round here, but Tyreek Hill, Gibbs, Olave, all next, Kincaid, second tight end off the board, Deshaun Watson, like you said, and then the 3 running backs that I talked about earlier, and Mark Andrews. My bad for going the wrong way there. Wasn't following the arrows. Then T. Higgins, Kenny Walker, and then Michael Penix is your 3rd quarterback off the board. 4-3 for those listening on the podcast.
3 quarterbacks in your first 4 picks, huh?
Yeah, and 2 of them are rookies.
You can't do that.
I can't.
I used to have that.
I can.
Sound drop.
Yes, I can.
Bull joke.
Let's go. And then there goes Jared Goff. So I took Penix over Goff. We're just resetting the timeline. If you've been listening, I'm loving Penix.
Loves Penix.
Just keeps winning. And it'll be really exciting to watch Oregon, Washington this weekend on part 2. So Devonta Smith goes, then Drake London, Bryce Young. Obviously, Frank Reich gets fired. Bryce Young, it looks terrible because CJ Stroud's so good. There's some good stuff going on with Bryce. The problem is they don't have a whole lot to be able to get much better moving into next season. And who the hell wants that job at this point? You got an over active owner who's meddling in everything. And so, I don't want that fucking job. I guess if you're an OC who has been in a position and gotten passed over a bunch, maybe Bieniemy, but somebody like that who's like, hey, I need to try to take this opportunity. But then you're like, well, this might I have already been passed over, so this might be my only opportunity. I should be selective of what I want to take. So it's a tough, really, really tough situation to walk into. But bring back Riverboat Ron. Because he's getting out of there.
He just goes to bring organizations out of the depths, back from the depths. And
he's
then
like, he probably still has
a
a house there,
Yeah.
He's like, oh, whatever. Let's go right back to put all this gear back on and let's go. So
I will say there was a throw that Bryce, and I saw an Instagram post or something where the Panthers put it out, and they were like, Bryce Young's thrown some of the most accurate balls in the league, but on average has the least open wide receivers or something. They were like throwing shade at their own receiving core to try and throw some love to the quarterback.
Right.
And like there was a throw along the sideline where Mingo just overran it and then like did like a 180 jump back to try and catch. It was the opposite of body control. It was wild. And Bryce Young was like, what was that? And you watch the replay. It was like silly looking. Like he's got an over the hill Thielen who's doing his best, and then nobody else. Like in the offensive line's garbage. Like I'm not ready to write Bryce Young off. Like you got to settle down a little bit.
No, I mean still some respect here in the draft.
It's quarterback.
Which is again, that's why I took those 2 quarterbacks pretty high because I feel like we're in a state of flux with quarterbacks. There's Kirk Cousins injured coming into the season. Sam Howell, is he staying around? Jordan Love, how much faith do you have in those guys? We're going to do a little in or out. We'll talk Sam Howell and maybe some Jordan Love in that, but it's just, Daniel Jones, in or out, basically. Will Levis, I don't fucking know. So
he was making some good plays.
He makes some good plays, but like, how willing are you to be like in Superflex? I'm riding with this guy. So I just kept seeing the value in the rookie quarterbacks and was like, hell, I might as well, take my stabs here. And, then later I can grab somebody like Stafford who's older and I know I can count on to start for probably another year or two. And if Geno Smith or, somebody like that keeps falling, maybe I can grab them. But, that's kind of the way I was seeing it. Like I said, Bryce Young at 4-3, give me Penix, Then we got a run of tight ends here. We had Laporta, Kelsey, and then Brock Bowers, our first tight end. There's the rookie. Stephon Diggs and Addison go back-to-back, and then Kyle Pitts at 6-1, bring him back the other side. So Brock Purdy seems like, I don't see him going anywhere. So you feel pretty comfortable taking Brock Purdy there.
Great super flex. That was his first quarterback too. What a nice start there.
Seems like a good snag, and just you could say whatever you want about him or whatever, if it's a system or whatnot, it doesn't really matter in fantasy. Who cares? And has some legs on him. You're seeing more and more, how good he is using those legs, getting you some hidden points there. JSN.
I'll just say people are not going to be happy about that Brock Bowers at 410. He should be way higher. He is generational. Yeah. How could you take Laporta or Kelsey over him? They're going to be mad.
Whatever.
Hit us in the comments.
I mean, I think as the legend grows, he'll probably, climb up the charts there a little bit. But I mean, coming right in and being ranked over, Kincaid, who's had some really strong performances of late. Laporta, who's
Kincaid's way up there.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like it's not like he's ranked that. Where are you gonna? You just have to take all the tight ends a little higher then, which is we're doing 1.5 here, tight end premium. I think it's probably properly rated of where the tight ends went. Can you take him over Laporta? Sure, I can't argue with you. Would I take him over Kelsey? Yeah, most likely. I mean, he's going to be 35 coming into the year. Like, quite honestly, I don't want anything to do with Kelsey in any startup draft, coming up here. It just has to happen.
I feel like I haven't had for years, and I've been fucking up.
Yeah, I mean, the last couple of years, it was like, I can go either way depending on where it is. It was usually maybe a little too high. 2 years ago, I was fine with it, but last year I was like, eh. And this year, I'm like, nah, I'm going to let somebody else do that. So, could be 2 more years of awesome Kelsey. Who knows? But then Kyle Pitts went 5-1, Purdy 5-2, JSN, Eckler, then Sam Howell, like I'm talking about. Then there goes Pittman. Love that pick. If I had to guess, that's Matt Foreman.
Yep.
And then, you get Kirk, which coming off an Achilles. And so again, interested in the rookie quarterbacks here. We're getting a lot of them. DK, Puka, and then Neighbors for me. I took a rookie. We're kind of in that area where it's like, hey, you could have went Cooper Kupp, you could have went Zay Flowers, you could have went Hollywood Brown, Nico, all those guys. I took Neighbors. I think Neighbors is the hype is already really, really building. It was weird. There really wasn't like a peep about who the 2 was, and now he's solidly the 2, and more maybe like better maybe than the 1. Maybe 1.5. As far as wide receivers go. And I'm not, no real arguments for me. I think Neighbors is great. So he would have been the second wide receiver off the board with the rookies here, and then Saquon. I think maybe a little value there, and Josh Jacobs. I think a little value there on the turn. So then we got Kupp, which I haven't been fucking with Kupp, and I'm not fucking with Kupp there.
He's only 30.
Yeah,
29, 30.
It's probably 31 coming into the season next year, maybe.
Nah.
Just not interested.
But what about Diggs?
That's fine. Diggs has played the last 2 full seasons. When you get up into that age, and now we're starting to miss large chunks of time, now I'm gonna be like, all right, man. Like I'm already taking a little bit of an investment that I know is going down basically each year, regardless of what they do.
Yeah.
Essentially, unless you're Tyreek Hill.
Right.
So once you start missing chunks of time,
I think he's still got another league-winning season in him.
He may, and maybe that's what that'll be. But for me, I'll take Neighbors and Rome Odunze. And then so that was my pick at
Keon Coleman too.
6'3". Keon Coleman. I'm not sure on Keon Coleman yet. I love watching Keon Coleman. I can't with intent say fuck yeah. Keon Coleman. I can't give you the what was that guy's name? The Howard Dean scream.
Howard Dean.
There we go. Now we're gonna go to Florida State. Now we're gonna win. Anyway, Keon Coleman, 6'4", so he would have been the 4th wide receiver, I believe.
I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna get my wife and bitter like, yeah.
He's the 4th wide receiver. It seems like I really like his game. But Troy Franklin's got to be flying up the board for me, and Egbuka looks to be pretty solid. I can't say with extreme confidence how high I'm taking him.
Matt loves him.
Until I can get a little further into evaluations. So Tony Pollard, Javonte Williams there, like the Javonte. Then Egbuka and Troy Franklin, I think those are awesome picks there. Devonta Smith, and then J.J. McCarthy at 6'10". I'm still not super sold on J.J., but made some big boy throws in that Ohio State game, but just lukewarm on him. I love this Ramondre pick at 6'11". He's been heating up. And then Zay Flowers and Rashee Rice on the turn. Bang, bang. Niner gang. Love that. Neither of them play for the Niners, just, whatever. Russell Wilson, they're kind of on the turn. I don't necessarily know how I feel about Russell, but once you look at the state of the quarterbacks, you're like, I guess. I don't know. So then Trey McBride, Debo, Keenan Allen, Nico, DJ Moore, Najee, which is like, what are you doing with Najee? But again, Steelers offense looks decent with Sans, Canada,
And with Pat Freiermuth.
Yeah, with Pat back in the fold, giving you that middle of the field yardage, and Najee in some I formation, just the appropriate usage of those two backs. And again, we've talked about it ad nauseum. I think they're good together. Najee just does that's what Najee does. He's your hammer, and then you get this other guy who comes in who's great in his own right. You can throw it to him. He's just quicker. You can kind of run outside. You can give him some inside stuff. He'll break some tackles, but Najee can just pound you relentlessly inside. And if you can open this up a little bit, then the running game is going to be open. They've been a very predictable, easy to guard team through the first half of the season, which I didn't see coming. I thought you would see a progression. And, Kenny played pretty well in this last game. The only couple of bad throws that you saw on the replay, you'd see he was getting hit or his shoulder was getting bumped on throws. I thought he made a lot of really good down the field throws.
You watched that game? That was the only one I didn't watch.
Oh yeah, had to watch that one. I was fired up about that.
Backup quarterback for the Bengals. Fired up.
It's a divisional game. No Canada. I got to see what's happening here. So
no Canada.
And then we're gonna round out with Pickens, the 7-10 Hollywood. That's where I took him because I was gonna take him. I had him up in the 6-3 range there. So. He came back, and then Kittle and Goddard there. So, not to really go on with too many more picks. Want to talk some more rookies here on the way out. We got Bo Nix is I took another rookie, so I got 3 rookie quarterbacks and Josh Allen. So basically, I can play kind of musical chairs with my quarterbacks. I feel like I got really strong currency at that point.
You got to be very active when you're going to take this many quarterbacks.
I'm okay with it though. I feel like I'm going to be in the driver's seat in a lot of deals, and I have got a lot of being able to move chips around. I got 2 rookie wide receivers. I got 3 rookie quarterbacks, and then
is the idea with taking that many quarterbacks, like you plan for basically all of them to increase in value, the 3 after our Josh Allen.
Even if they don't, I can still, I think they'll increase in value because we're talking about here, I think you're going to be looking around at the landscape of who you want as a fantasy starter long term and being like, how much do I trust Sam Howell year to year? I'm not sure. How much do I trust Bryce Young year to year? I mean, he's going to have some time. Obviously, Goff should be fine, and Deshaun Watson should be fine. But we're looking around at the top of this board, and you're like, yeah, okay, all those guys. But then you look down here at the bottom of the board, and you're like, yeah, Jesus, Jordan Love, Daniel Jones, Derek Carr, Aaron Rodgers is old, Will Levis, Baker Mayfield, Geno Smith, Kenny Pickett. I don't hate any of those guys, but those guys aren't getting you excited, which is why I just kept hammering some quarterbacks, and never in a million years would I have thought that I'd be taking Bo Nix here. And maybe it'll come out in the wash that I don't really want Bo Nix. I think if I had to do that over again, I would probably take Jaden Daniels there. Just seems like a better fantasy asset. Jaden Daniels is going to be shooting up these boards, especially if he wins the Heisman. He deserves to be. The legs are awesome, and that's what we know we want in fantasy. So awesome pick by Alex, I believe that was. There, and I don't think you'll be getting him at 9.5 for very long. Again, because of the state of where quarterback play is, and I think for sure, give me Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels over J.J. McCarthy right now. I know maybe somebody doesn't like that, and you can give me some stats to tell me why I'm an idiot. But I like both of them. I watched all of them play a decent amount this year, and Jaden Daniels with the legs, man, is always going to be the default in fantasy to give me the edge over both of those guys. So I think Jaden's got to move up. And then if you're looking for the running back help, because much like the state of quarterbacks, the running backs, you're looking around going, man, this gets ugly after, the 6th round. We got, Monty and Chubb, which who knows, and then, Rashad White, who, has been great fantasy-wise, but, we don't know what the play – is he ever going to be in the situation again where he has this much of a backfield? Great receiver and a pretty good running back, but, will he be, where he is this year? I don't think so. I think there'll be some probably changes that go on with the Buccaneers and the running back and the quarterback. And then Mixon, which is fine. And then, here you go. We're getting some we get a run of running backs here at the end. Or not at the end, but in the middle of this thing, Travion Henderson – Braylon Edwards. Then we had Blake Corum and Trey Benson go a few rounds later. So you get that run of running backs, but that's kind of what we're seeing in rookie drafts too. We're not seeing them go until after the first 12. There really isn't one that has came up and grabbed the hold of being a first round running back. If Travion Henderson maybe would have had a huge performance against Michigan, he's been kind of heating up a little bit. If he would have maybe put them boys on his back and won it, maybe you could have got some movement from him. Down a little lower, you have Devin Neal. I really like him. Benson's playing really well, but unfortunately they just lost their quarterback. Braylon Allen, there's a lot to like there, and there's a lot of the analytical kind of profile stuff that I don't think a lot of people like from him. So you just have a lot of the guy from Marks from Mississippi State. I think he deserves to be in the mix here. Interesting running backs. I think you will find some to be able to get to help you out, but I could see a lot of them being in kind of a Tajee Spears, Charbonnet kind of ecosystem where maybe they're not getting a chance without an injury, but are still good players. Maybe Henderson and Allen will get second core, maybe getting second round draft capital, but then after that into the third and fourth round, it'll be really interesting to see how this shapes out. And we haven't even really dove into rookie tape. This is just judged off of some rough numbers and what we've seen from the actual game-to-game play. So once we dive into that, start diving into film, we'll probably get excited about a couple other running backs and drop them up and down. The next tight end off the board was Jatavian Sanders from Texas. I took him at 12-3 just to get an idea where some of these tight ends are going. And after that, I think Estime's pretty solid. I like Leggett from South Carolina. He's down there at 211 for the rookies.
Couldn't do it versus my man Wiggins though.
He had a good play in that game.
Yeah, he had 77 yards, and Wiggins didn't really line up against him too many times. We were playing zone a lot, but
yeah. Oh, but he's a fifth-year senior, and if it takes that long to break out of South Carolina, how can he be any good?
Kind of with this guy.
Yeah, he's big and fast. That's all I know.
You're gonna need to convince me, because if you're not an early declare, you're off a lot of people's boards.
Right.
So none of them have Zay Flowers.
Right. Well, there's a lot of people who I think as we're getting more and more into this, there are some people who are staunchly against certain things, but I think you're starting to realize that you can't just put them all in one bucket. If you want to play that way, that's fine. You're probably going to hit more than you don't, and you're not going to hit those outliers. And some people are fine with that. I'm not. I want it all. I want to put those guys in a list, and then I want to say, hey, this guy might be a little bit of an outlier, doesn't check these boxes, but these other things are so good, it's undeniable. I don't know what we're doing, and it's not like it never happens. It's just the absolute talk is always what kills us on this podcast. But Estime, Notre Dame running backs, solid. Tez Walker, very, very good player, made a big splash here. Adonai Mitchell from Texas, Worthy, had to have been somewhere in here. Maybe we missed him, but maybe nobody took him. I'm not really sure how. Again, this is rough. First of all, I should have mentioned this at the top. There is no list of rookies to pick from. We had to put these guys in there ourselves. So if you're not adept and in on all the rookies and looking at something, we're doing a mock draft in November. I'm sure everyone's not looking at a list of rookies going, hey, I got to take these guys. So
hit us in the comments.
Take some of this.
I know you're mad about some of these rookies.
How is Worthy not in there? Somebody's super mad about that.
Yeah.
And unfortunately the Texas running back just got hurt as well a week or two ago, so that was a bummer.
Yeah.
He was charging up the charts there. So not going to get too much more into much else on this board. We've been going long enough here. Just really wanted to get the rookies involved, get you an idea where they are and where they may fall or rise, and get you an idea of what the rookie draft picks would look if it's its own board. So we're going to keep doing these at least once a month. We'll be doing plenty more and building our own ADP, but we'll be bringing you at least one a month. And then as rookie season ramps up, we'll start doing even more. And then we'll be doing, startup talks and about to be into the off-season trade deadlines and all that coming up. If you want, we want to do some more roster evaluations and trade stuff. If you want, hit us next week. We're going to try to be doing some of that. So hit us with hashtag Dynasty Trades in the YouTube comments. You can hit us up on Twitter at the FF Dynasty. You can hit us up on Instagram, which I'm not going to lie, we don't check that one a ton.
Yeah.
I did see some of y'all hit us up over there. My bad. I'm just not.
Your best chance to get the review is to hit us in the comments and put hashtag Dynasty Trades. That way I can go search for that in the comments, and then boom, every rebuild or trade scenario that you're looking for, and if you want to do a team review, just go ahead and do Dynasty Trades as well.
Right. Get much detail as possible. We'll help you out. If you don't get in, you don't get in. Sorry, we're only going to pick a couple. And then Twitter's not bad either. You can send us the DM. We check Twitter a good amount, so you can just say, hey, FF Dynasty sent you a message, because if we don't follow you, your messages are in a different thing. But
checking Twitter regularly is a relative term, because some of these dudes, I don't know how they put a show together. They're on Twitter all goddamn day.
I will check enough to see some teams. But we're going to keep doing that, all through the season here. So, feel free to shoot them over to us. Sorry if we don't get to you. The patrons will always come first, but we do Patreon shows to knock some of those out, which we'll be talking to this probably a little bit more of this draft on the Patreon show coming this week. So again, be sure to like, subscribe, comment below, all that jazz. We'll be bringing you plenty more of these, plenty more rookie mocks, plenty of more this or that, picks versus veterans, all sorts of fun stuff as the season kind of wears on, and maybe just getting back to some general football talk, which if we had more time, we would do every Monday and just kind of do reviews like we used to. But time is of the essence here, so kind of kibosh those. But trying to get back into them, because I think crossing the two things together is the most important. Unfortunately, that's not what the mainstream viewer wants. They want a certain thing, so that's what we're kind of trying to get in a lane of. But eventually we will be talking a whole lot more. This will be more like a football radio show that gets fantasy, because I think that's the way to do it. If the guys who talk sports talk for a living are missing such an element of depth to their conversation. They can only talk about the top stuff. I think where you need to live is crossing those two streams of saying the fantasy guy who can actually talk about the actual game of football and what has happened, and putting those two things together, I think, is the recipe for, and which is how I approach a lot of this stuff. You just don't get it on here as much. So, very much appreciate you, and we'll catch you next time.
Peace. Oh, and if you're listening on the podcast, there's a link to the draft in the thing below. Like, really, to get the full effect, you got to go to YouTube. Appreciate y'all. Peace.